Guys, it's your girl Nene, and I'm back with story time. Remember to follow my social medias. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. Happy Wednesday again. Hey, y'all. It's your girl Nene, and welcome back. Yes, I'm on my way home. Just got my baby. She got her hair done. First and foremost, I need you guys to subscribe. What in the world? I need you guys to hit that like button. I need you guys to comment. And I also need you guys to share this video. I need you guys to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Welcome to my new subscribers. And to my old subscribers, thank you for staying subscribed and sticking with me. So, I've been trying to do a story time for the longest. So, I guess this is the best time right now for me, while I'm on my way home to do it. So my story is going to be about Kia, you need to put the GPS in. But when we get to East Orange though. But so my story time is about the time that I found out I was pregnant with her in the back. If you all know, who knows? If you know, then you know. If you know, then you know it. But if you don't know, then now you're about to know. I was a teen mom. I had my child when I was 15. Yeah. So let's get into that story. I met her father when I was 13, going on 14. You know, he was my first or whatever. He was like my first everything, my first love, the first person I married, the first person I had kids with. That's her father. So boom, right? August of like '06 is when I want to say I actually deflowered myself or whatever. So, we was dating. Of course, after, I got deflowered or whatever, I found out that he was also dating somebody else. So, he was like a little gigolo. He was ping ponging between us two. And if you really want to get technical, I think the reason why we probably were together as long as we were is because I got pregnant, but whatever. So it was like, now let's fast forward. It was after my birthday, so February, it was February of '07. I had just turned 15, so it was like March, like around Marches. I remember because it was I found that I was pregnant around the time my great-great-grandpa passed. So, and I remember because I didn't go to the funeral. Because I said I didn't want to do no more funerals. So, I remember that part. So, I'm in school or whatever, and I'm just feeling lightheaded, and I'm feeling sick, and like eerie. Like, I'm just not feeling like myself. Like, I feel like something is off. So, I go and tell the guidance counselor at the time. Well, she was like the office secretary, but we called her our guidance counselor because she had control over, not control, but she was the only one that really could control people like my age around that time. Like we only really listened to her, even though my school was a predominantly black school. But we really only listened to her because she got us because her son was in the same grade as us. So, she was real in tune with us. So, I goes to her and I'm like, yeah, Miss Nancy, I don't feel well. Like, I feel sick. So she's like, oh, go to the nurse. So I go to the nurse. So the nurse at the time, Miss Haley, she like, she called me Janice. She like, Janice, what's wrong? Yeah. She always had crackers and ginger ale. That's why I love ginger ale so much. Because she always had crackers and ginger ale. She like, here, take go get a ginger ale and get some crackers and eat some. So you'll feel better. Now, that was during the day. Now, you know, in grammar school, I was still in grammar school at the time because I had got left back in 4th grade. So, yes, I was 15 in the 8th grade. I don't care. Don't judge me. I didn't get left back for grades. I got left back because of behavior, because I'm no bitch. But, so I goes upstairs after that, and I'm in class, and one of my classmates had like a bottle of ranch. Like, she had some wings, and she had a bottle of that R dressing, that ranch dressing. I hate that dressing now. Before, I used to eat it, but now, like, since I was pregnant with my daughter, it was like, soon as I seen that, I just threw up. Like, I threw up. So I didn't know Miss Massey called my mother. So when I got home, you know, I go to throw my book back down, goes to go get in the shower to change my clothes so I could go back outside, because, you know, I want to go see my boyfriend. Like, that's where my mom was at the time, which was her father. I'm like, what did I say? Oh, my mom, I comes in the house, and it's a Clear Blue Easy test on the table. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know my mother not pregnant. Like, what? Like, what? So she like, yeah, before you do all of that, pee on that stick. I'm like, what? She like, yeah, Miss Massey called me. She said you wasn't feeling well, so pee on that stick. So I peed on it. I went and peed on it. I'm like, I'm not pregnant. Ain't nothing gonna pop up. Ain't nothing happen. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Y'all. I peed on that stick, and I was pregnant. Like, that shit, it 2 bright ass lines popped up. So, at the time, when I was living in Jersey City, I lived on this block called Summit, so it was around the corner from this clinic, Horizon Clinic. I goes to the clinic, I pees on that stick, them motherfuckers tell me I'm not pregnant. So my mother goes, we leave there, my mama goes back to, excuse me, my mama goes back to the pharmacy and goes and get 2 more tests. So it was like hours in between, so I had to go to the bathroom again. So I peed again, and they both came back positive, like both of them. So then now she calling the Clear Blue Easy people, like the hotline, and telling them that the test is defective. So telling them that the test is defective, so they need to send another one. They wound up sending another one 2 days later. But wait, this is funny. So boom, now I'm rattling with the thoughts of me being pregnant, and I call my cousin, and I'm like, yo, yada yada yada. Like, I called her, I'm like, yo, come to my house right now. So she comes over. So she sits on my bed. She like, what's going on? What happened? And I tell her, no, we just gave her the test, and she just cried. Like, she just kneeled over and cried. Like, oh my God. She started crying. I started crying, y'all. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, I can't be. I called my baby father, and I'm like, what's up? He's like, yeah, where you at? You ain't up here yet? I'm like, nah. I'm like, we gotta talk. So he like, we gotta talk about what? I'm like, I'm pregnant. So he like, huh? I'm like, I'm pregnant. And at the time, he was, you know, like I told you, he was going back and forth. So at the time, he was saying like, I told him, I'm like, so what you gonna do about Didi? He like, I mean, I want to be with you. I want to be a father. And I'm like, well, you don't have to be with me because I'm pregnant. Like, you know, this baby's gonna be taken care of with or without you. That's the type of mindset I had. But he said he wanted to do things right, whatever the fuck that meant, because he still was dogging me after, but whatever. So we called. At the time, his mom was still alive. His mom, I found that I was pregnant in March. God rest her soul. His mom died in April. So, you know, she only dealt with the news for a little bit. So we told her mom. So her mom like, oh well, we're gonna have a meeting. So her mother, his father. father, his mother, his father, my mother and my grandmother all had a meeting. Come to find out, they all knew each other. But not his mother, so say, but my mother, my grandmother, his father, my father, like they all knew each other. My father and his father went to high school together. His father, my aunt worked together. My mother and his father went to school together. So it was just like, you see how small Jersey City is? Like, do you see how small this city is? Like, that's crazy. So he calls me crying or whatever. He like, yeah, my father said he wanted a DNA test because I guess his older brother went through a situation before where he thought the baby was his for 2 years and come to find out it wasn't his. So he wanted DNA test. I'm like, well, I don't care. I know who I slept with. I'm like, you the only person I slept with. I'm like, you the only person that I ever had sex with. How dare him say that? I was going off. I was going off so bad that I think his mom and everybody heard me because he had me on speaker. This was when the church, the bleeps was out. Like, I'm busting through the church. Like, what the fuck you mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I know who the fuck I slept with. I know who my baby father is. So, fast forward a week later, we finally goes to the doctor. Y'all. How about, guess how many months I was, y'all? I was 2.5, almost 3 months when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. I was still getting a period. Like, nothing was changing until, like, maybe, like, I was probably, like, exactly 2 months. That's when, like, my body started, that's when I started feeling, like, crazy. Like, I couldn't sleep on my stomach. Like, it was just really, really an uncomfortable feeling. But for 2.5 months, I was still getting a period. Everything, nothing seemed different. Like, even now, like, I never got those type of symptoms where people, they know, how people nose spread and stuff like that. None of that happened to me. Like, everything was still the same. So that's how I was like, you sure she pregnant? Like, but when I say my baby father cried, y'all, he cried. And I was just on that phone like, you don't got to be here. I don't know what you're crying for. Because you don't got to be here. Like, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to. I'm not forcing you. I'm just letting you know because I think you should know. But you don't got to be here. But, I guess, he stayed around. He was in the delivery room. He did cut her umbilical cord. Throughout my pregnancy, I'm not going to say it was an easy pregnancy, like, because of, like, him. But it was easy because, like, with her, like, she had me carrying beautifully. Like, and even when I would get discouraged, like, she was the only one. Like, even though she wasn't even born yet, like, she was just the one who made me feel like everything was going to be okay.
Period.
Okay, see, she in the back, she's stretching it. Nobody even talking to her. But, yeah. Now, I'm not out here, I'm not an advocate for young moms. I'm not going to sit here and say it's okay to get pregnant when you're young, because I feel like if, like, you have so much life to live. Like, I love my kids. I love my daughter to death. Like, I would die for my daughter right now. Like, I love her. But if I would have known then what I know now, I wouldn't have had kids, because I had to grow up really, really fast. Like, I didn't have, like, what kids have. Like, I couldn't have a sweet 16, because for one, I wasn't sweet. For two, my daughter was already 1, and I think I was pregnant with my second. But that's another story. We're not going to talk about that right now. That's another story. I had Chris at 17, so I was pregnant with Chris at 16. Like going into my 17th birthday, I was pregnant. I had Jew at 15, Chris at 17, and Puda at 21. And that's it. I ain't having no more. Yeah, I would have had another. I don't know what that baby would have been, but that would have been a baby. You, like, you, Chris, and that baby, if that baby would have survived, you, Chris, and that baby would have had the same dad. But the baby died at like 5 months or something like that. Girl, you got one. Alora. Oh, well, you better talk to your father about that because I'm not having no more. So whenever you see him, you can talk to him like, yo, dad, I need a baby sister. And he'll kindly give it to you. Not by me, from him. Because I'm not having no more. But, yeah, y'all. So, like I was saying, I'm not an advocate for it. But I'm not here to judge you either. If you get pregnant young, if you're in that situation, you know, I pray that you have a strong support team behind you. See, the reason why it was so easy for me to do what I did and make the decision that I made is because my support team that was behind me, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, my family, like, you know, they supported my decision. They, like, well, I didn't have a decision because at the time, like, you know, my family don't believe in abortion. I mean, but they helped me. They was my support system. Like, they didn't leave me stinking. And I always loved them and appreciate them for that. I appreciate them for that. If you don't have a good support system and you're in that situation, and if you feel like you can't do it, then by all means, and you do what you have to do, whether it is terminating it or, you know, even putting he or she up for adoption. Like, you know, even letting her live, he or she live, and just giving her a better life. At the end of the day, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Like, I'm not here to judge because I've been in that situation. And I always think about what if I didn't have the support system that I had. Like, if I didn't have that, y'all, I don't know where I would be right now. I don't know where my kids would be. Like, I know I'd be saying I'm stressed out, but I'm not. Like, I'm really not. Like, not all the time. But I'm so grateful that my kids are in great hands. Like, if anything was to happen to me today or tomorrow, I know my kids would be in great hands. And that's why I love my family. They may get on my nerve. They may aggravate the shit out of me. I love them to death because I know when it comes to my three, they're going to be taken care of. Because it's happened so much in my family. Like, it's happened so much that, like, and I think that's probably why I'd be like, oh, well, my kids are good and stuff like that because I know they're good. But at the end of the day, you know, that was my story. And I wouldn't change not one bit of it. Like I said, if I would have known then what I know now, I wouldn't have had any kids, especially this soon. But, I mean, they're here. And I wouldn't trade them for the world. I wouldn't trade them for nothing. My kids are unique. They are ambitious. They are smart. They are beautiful. They are everything. Like, they may get on my nerve too. But that's just them. Kids are supposed to they're not supposed to not get on my nerves. If they're not getting on my nerves, then something's not right. So, that's my story, y'all. That was story time with Nene. I'm on my way in the house to feed my babies, bathe them, and everybody's going to get ready for bed because I'm going to work tomorrow. Good dungeon, y'all. But I don't got to be to work till 8:15, so that's what that is. So I love y'all, and I thank y'all for chatting with me, and I see y'all on the flip side.